Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy and Nate, and today we're going to be discussing the threat for severe weather going into parts of the middle and late parts of this week. But before we get started, I'm going to have to ask you all to do me a favor and hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications, share with friends and family, yada yada yada. Let's get into announcements first before we get into the video. First off, this is going to be the last video that's going to be of good quality because, as I mentioned, I'm going to be going down to Daytona, Florida. I actually leave at around noon Eastern Daylight Time to go down there. So I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but at the bottom right-hand corner, it's 4:47 in the morning. So yeah, I'm making this video pretty early before I actually go and do about my business because I actually have a lot on my agenda today. So, um, just a reminder that I most likely will just be making videos from now all the way up until possibly Sunday morning. If there's any severe weather on Sunday afterwards, I'll be able to live stream it, but anywhere from today, Sunday, all the way up until Saturday, I will not be able to live stream anything, even if it is a risk that I would typically live stream. So, I'd have to advise you all to monitor the National Weather Service heavily and listen to their warnings if they are issued. Keyword if. But with that being said, let's get into the video here. Just by taking a look at the Storm Prediction Center with their convective outlooks, there's a marginal that is still there for Monday. This is the little event that we've been talking about for the past couple of days. There's also quite the fire risk, and I want to get into that real quickly before we get into our convective outlook, because I know I have some people who live over here who watch my stream. So people who live in the general vicinity of the southwestern parts of New Mexico, as well as anywhere from Arizona down into places like El Paso and just to the west of Lubbock and Amarillo. You guys are in a elevated and maybe even critical risk for fires or wildfires. So if you do see a fire, you do need to report it to the local authorities and emergency management so that nothing serious comes out of those wildfires. We all have seen what wildfires can do, especially to a particular state. So it's something to keep in mind that we do not want that to happen again. And that if you do see something, say something to the proper authorities. And then same thing with Monday here. You can see the critical risk actually extends all the way into Midland, Odessa, El Paso, people in southern New Mexico, and then the actual elevated risk extends right around Lubbock. So you guys need to also monitor this as this develops further and further. Drier conditions are most likely forecasted within those areas. So if you do see a wildfire start, you need to say something quickly. All right, let's get into the convective outlook here. I did mention that the only risk that was issued for any of those days was day 2, and so here's the marginal risk that we were talking about: southern Oklahoma into northern Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth, as well as Oklahoma City now getting into the fray. So they have the small chance of getting 5% chance for hail, which it would be a 5% chance of you getting 1-inch diameter hail or larger within 25 miles of a point, and then 5% chance for wind, which would be you having a 5% chance of seeing 58-mile-per-hour winds or greater. No tornado risk that's forecasted as of right now. I'm anticipating that to stay the same, but it would not be surprised if it goes to a 2% either. So something to keep in mind as we approach these thunderstorms. All right, let's get a general overview of the United States real quickly with the GFS model. see what all we can anticipate. I'm going to be trying to forecast pretty far out here. So I'm going to try and forecast the entire week just in case if I can't upload videos. I've got my laptop over here, but I'm not sure if my laptop will be able to record or even function properly. And yes, I did not test it. Stupid of me not to, but I've just been pretty busy over the weekend, so I can't really do much about that. But, well, I guess we'll just test my skills, put them to the test, and see if we can get some stuff correctly. So, right now, there's a lot of snow that's occurring over the Rocky Mountains, and there's looks to be a low pressure that is about to form off of the Rockies. So it'll just pop off, and you'll see that within the next couple of frames. That poof, there's your low pressure system. That could create some more snow for the Rockies, as well as bring some rain towards the central plains all the way up into the Midwest. And this could also cause your severe weather risk on Monday. This is Monday here for the marginal risk areas. Wouldn't be surprised if it got extended any further north or south. But it's still something to keep in mind as that continues to push on through even into the latter parts of Monday into Tuesday morning. Then the low pressure starts to move to the north. It'll head off towards the upper Midwest. You could also see some more severe storms for the deep south. I mentioned before in yesterday's video that I wouldn't be surprised if Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, and Kentucky got into the fray. So if you guys see some storms, it'll most likely be some gusty winds and some large hail, maybe even the small chance for tornadoes, but not too significant like some of the other tornado outbreaks that we've been having over the past week. But we still have some strong storms that will continue to push off. And the one thing that I do want to mention real quickly, I'll actually go up a bit further, is that one thing I noticed with the models, or at least with the GFS model, is that before, if you were watching my video yesterday, the snow actually got down all the way into Nebraska, and that's how it was before. But now the GFS say that there is still some precip that gets around into the Dakotas and Nebraska, but it's all rain, and the snow actually stays to the north. So one thing I do want to mention real quickly to kind of bolster my claim that this Arctic blast that most people are claiming, to where the deep south can get into sub-freezing temperatures, is that, number one, that's a very, very large forecast and a very far out forecast. You may not be entirely wrong, but it will not be below freezing, mainly because one thing that I want to mention is that most models are relatively cold biased. They over-exaggerate how cold it is in the atmosphere. And one thing to support my thesis so far is that the GFS has retracted its idea that snow will get into places like Nebraska from this low pressure system, and it will stay relatively to the north. I agree with this this idea here that there is some snow to the north, but any sort of snow that's towards the south here, like into the central plains, is not really all too ideal. But continuing on further, you can see that another low pressure system develops here. This is on Wednesday evening into Thursday. This is where we can see that another area of severe weather. This might actually be worse than the areas on Monday and Tuesday. And so you'll see the low pressure system begin to develop. More snow is forecasted across the Great Lakes. It'll be into like Michigan, so like Flint and stuff like that. Maybe Grand Rapids gets into the fray, but definitely not Detroit, because Detroit never gets anything nowadays. And then your severe weather will be mainly localized into places like extreme eastern Louisiana all the way into southern Mississippi, central Alabama, maybe south central Alabama, heading into northern Georgia, and a little bit of South Carolina and North Carolina will also join the fray within that. And that'll be on Thursday, and then on Friday, you can anticipate those storms to continue to rumble on through. This is Friday morning, to where the Central Carolinas into the Eastern Carolinas, as well as Central Georgia into the Eastern Georgia, will start to get some storms. And right around the evening hours, that's when places like Savannah and Jacksonville will start to get real storms before things start to go away. And then this is their supposed, you know, cold Arctic blast or whatever. And before it didn't even get so high, now it's what, in the Carolinas and stuff like that. And apparently this model says that the mid-Atlantic into the north and east still has the opportunity for snow, which I kind of I could see the model's point, but knowing the northeast as well as it does, if this low pressure is true, then some of these areas along the coast very easily could not see any snow. Especially some of the stuff in New England. You guys probably won't see snow until like the latter stages of this event. But this is like on Sunday, so I'll be able to cover this on Sunday morning. And if you guys want updates from this, from me, from that low pressure system, just make sure to return to this YouTube channel on Sunday. That would be greatly appreciated. All right, let's go into a bit more in depth as to what's happening tomorrow. First off, so the timings of this event as to what people could see. So we're taking a look at the HRRR model. Is there not a 6Z out yet? I thought there was a 6Z out. There you go. Okay, so we can start to see precipitation start to fall towards the morning and afternoon hours on Monday. And then heading into the afternoon into the evening hours, you can see some scattered storms start to develop. So this will be pushing on through the Dallas-Fort Worth area at around the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock hours. And then you guys will see some more storms right around the 10, 11 o'clock hours, maybe even midnight. And Oklahoma City will start to get into the fray at around 9 o'clock, give or take. So something to keep in mind as well. Just real quickly, I want to take a look to see what the conditions are for these storms. We'll use a significant tornado parameter just to see the worst case scenario. And there is a little bit of there is some severe conditions that have been brought forth in Texas. So we'll see Cape in those areas around 1,500. It's supposed to be 2,000 forecasted, so that's not all too bad. This is contaminated a little bit, but that's okay. I don't really care. Hodograph is all right, so the wind's veering with height tends to generate rotation or spin in the atmosphere. So this general curling off to the right is exactly what we're seeing, the spin in the atmosphere. For you guys who are new, this is a hodograph, in that if you imagine yourself in a satellite, you're looking down at the ground with a dude holding a weather balloon. If you let go that weather balloon, this hodograph tells you what path it would take if you were looking straight down at the hodograph. So because it's curling off to the right, you do have that general spin in the atmosphere, which means that you do have a tornadic hodograph. Your energy is all right, but your dew points lack a bit to be desired. It's around 58 degrees Fahrenheit, and you would want around 60 or above. So anything under that is really pushing its luck. And the fact that the temperatures in general is around 60 make it to where this event is kind of questionable, in my honest opinion. With that, there's also a limiting factor, a capping inversion that typically you would want 10 to 50 capping inversion in order for you to get explosive thunderstorms, like real big, heavy thunderstorms that can produce tornadoes and stuff like that. It gets over that, it gets into the 63 range, and also in the mixing layer, it gets almost to 50. So if you add that on top of each other, that's just way too much limiting factor, way too much capping inversion. So this event is really kind of questionable on Monday, and that people still could get severe weather, easily still could get severe weather. I wouldn't knock off hail completely. I think if there's any thunderstorms that develop, hail definitely could be a factor. Lapse rates are in the upper sevens, which you would want around 7, so that is something to keep in mind. But it's still not looking all too good with this storm. I'll take another sounding real quickly. And capping inversion is the same thing. So capping inversion, the limiting factor is there in place to potentially limit these thunderstorms or even prevent them from sustaining in this particular event. All right, we're going to take a look down on Thursday. Real quickly, we're going to see the Cape that's heading into this general vicinity. Make it so that we understand what all is happening well. So Thursday, some Cape amounts can get up to 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. That's on Thursday. And then on Friday, that's the same thing. It actually gets up to 2,500 joules per kilogram near Savannah, so that's something to keep in mind as well. But there is enough energy with this event, if this is given time to be able to materialize. So let's take a sounding real quickly. Cape, around 2,000 to 2,500 joules per kilogram. That meets the threshold. Helicity, which is just basically the displacement between the winds at the surface and the winds at a specific height. Or not really a displacement, but the stronger the helicity, the stronger the rotation typically would be. So if you have strong winds at the bottom, strong winds at the top that are veering, that the measure of that is helicity. And so if you have over 200, that's all right. That's pretty good. Surface of 1 kilometer helicity is 198, which is around 200. So I'll give it a pass there, but it is below 200, so that's something to keep in mind. Dew points are in the 70s. That is absolutely phenomenal for a severe weather event. If you can get over 70, then you can almost guarantee that you're going to get some sort of rain or precipitation in and around there. Just whether it's severe or not, that's the real question. But it just tells you that you have that much energy in that general vicinity. Photograph is all right. It's relatively straight from 0 to 1 kilometer, which kind of concerns me. Kind of tells me that it easily could be a bunch of straight line winds in that general vicinity. Seems how that's the level of free convection is in between the 0 1 kilometer, but that is something to keep in mind, which that's just the LFC right here, but that's kind of technical for some other people, so that's something to keep in mind too. But yeah, Cape is all right. If you guys don't know what Cape is, I know I've said Cape like 5,000 times, but just a refresher, Cape is the convective available potential energy. It's the measure of the displacement between warm air rising and cold air seeking. So the buoyant force in the atmosphere is measured in Cape. So higher amounts of Cape, higher amounts of energy. Kind of makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to take one more sounding real quickly. And we'll take it right here. Figure out. And there's a little bit of capping inversion, but it's not that bad, actually. It's negative 21 capping inversion. So it's okay. Helicity's fine. Lapse rate's okay. Cape is fine. Hodograph is fine. Yeah, you easily could see some severe weather from Louisiana all the way into southern Mississippi, all the way into central Alabama, and maybe even parts of Georgia. But you could definitely see that threat increase overnight for places like central and southern Georgia. So if you live in northern Georgia, don't really anticipate that to really be a whole factor. And then on Friday, the central to eastern Carolinas should most likely start to get into the fray. So this is on Friday. Charlotte, it says that you guys are actually going to be right on the border of the risk. So I can't actually say if you guys are going to get thunderstorms or not, because you might get some lingering thunderstorms, but they may not even be severe. So that is something to keep in mind as well. So honestly, if you live in any of these areas on Thursday into Friday, I gave you my general overview as to what I thought, to where what states could get impacted and how they can get impacted. But it's honestly the best thing that I can say is just continue to monitor the National Weather Service as this event on Thursday gets closer and closer. So that'll be pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to like it, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications, share it with friends and family and on social media. Also, if you want, you can join my Discord server. Link will be in the description down below. Follow me on Twitch. Link will be in the description down below. I might be able to live stream on Thursday, but it won't be for analysis. It could just be for storm chasing. So I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but if you see me live stream on Thursday about storm chasing, you'll know why. So, but don't expect too much of me. I might just try and enjoy myself while I can. So, yep, that'll be it for me. My name's Nate. I'll also go by HockeyBoy Nate. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.